Hey, what is up, mortals? ObsidianZed here with a new video for you. In this video, we'll dive into the history of Tekkeadan from the Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans anime. I just wanted to greet you all by saying, just sit back, relax, you're in for a treat. So let's get started. In the world of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, in the post-disaster era of the Earthsphere, 300 years after the event known as the Calamity War, the Earthsphere's former government has fallen, and the organization known as Gjallarhorn has risen to be the dominant military power, and along with a governmental structure which leads to Mars being divided up and ruled by Earth's 4 economic blocks. But in post-disaster year 314, a young woman by the name of Kudelia Aina Bernstein gave a speech at the Noachis July Assembly and called for Mars to have economic independence from the Earth, and she received support from the people. This would ultimately result in a trip to Earth in post-disaster year 323, and her escort would be the Christ Guard Security's Third Group, or CGS Third Group for short, who would soon become the organization known as Tekkeadan. The night that CGS Third Group was assigned to escort Kudelia Aina Bernstein to Earth, they were attacked by a sizable force of Gjallarhorn mobile workers and 3 Gjallarhorn Grays units piloted by Orlis Stenja, Crank Zent, and Ein Dalton. The battle began to go south after the 3 Gjallarhorn Grays units entered the battlefield and started picking off Third Group members like bugs. In this dire situation, CGS Third Group's leader, Orga Itsuka, ordered his right-hand man and Third Group's best pilot, Mikazuki August, to head down to the mech bay and pilot the one mobile suit they have at their disposal. A relic from the Calamity War. Maruba RK had been using a power source for the base. The relic's name and designation was the ASW G08 Gundam Barbados. After erupting onto the battlefield in the Gundam Barbados, Mikazuki began decimating the Gjallarhorn forces, which forced Gjallarhorn to retreat and gave Third Group the victory. In the aftermath of the battle, First Group returned to the base and reprimanded Third Group for using them as a decoy to draw Gjallarhorn forces off Third Group, which impeded First Group's escape attempt. This would be the metaphorical straw that broke the camel's back that would convince Orga to stage a coup and take over the CGS. With the CGS firmly in control of the Third Group, they began to get acclimated, but are interrupted by a challenge from Crank Zent for a duel with Third Group's best warrior for possession of Kudelia Aina Bernstein and the Grays unit that Third Group captured after their first battle with Gjallarhorn. The duel ended with Mikazuki's victory. In the glow of Mikazuki's victory, Orga came up with a new name for their paramilitary organization. They were no longer CGS Third Group, they would be known as Tekkeadan. After agreeing to take up the Kudelia job under their new name, Tekkeadan got to work repairing their weapons, seizing all of the assets they could from the CGS, and preparing to leave for the Earth. Still, they would run into complications in the form of a Gjallarhorn ambush as they tried to make it to their own ship known as the Isaribi, formerly known as the Will-o'-the-Wisp. Luckily for Tekkeadan, they had Mikazuki ready in the Barbados to draw fire off of the shuttle so that Orga, Biscuit, and the rest could get to their Isaribi in one piece. After reaching the Isaribi, Orga ordered Akihiro Atland, another of Tekkeadan's best pilots, to deploy in the Grays unit they had acquired during their first battle with Gjallarhorn. With the combined power of Gundam Barbados, Akihiro's Grays unit, and the Isaribi, Tekkeadan was able to escape while taking down Gjallarhorn's mobile suit units. Though Tekkeadan's troubles wouldn't be over for long, as sometime after Gjallarhorn's ambush, they found themselves going up against a subsidiary of Tiwaz, known as the Turbines. They had been hired by Maruba RK to reclaim the assets that Tekkeadan had taken from CGS before they left Mars. The battle was intense as the Turbines had their own impressive mobile suits that were powerful enough to even give the Barbados a hard time. Still, luckily for both sides of the conflict, this battle would end without any deaths, due to Orga's ingenuity in boarding the Turbines' ship and reaching the bridge. In the aftermath of the battle, the leader of the Turbines, Naze, agreed to meet with Orga to discuss terms regarding a deal for the Turbines to guide Tekkeadan to Earth and for Tekkeadan to become a subsidiary of Tiwaz. After negotiations are completed, Tekkeadan and the Turbines head to Saisei to meet with the boss of Tiwaz, McMurdo Barristan. After reaching Saisei and getting approved by Barristan, Tekkeadan celebrated their partnership with Tiwaz and the revenue made from selling the supplies they had collected up until that point. As Tekkeadan and the Turbines continue their journey to Earth, they have a run-in with a civilian outfit by the name of the Brewers. After learning that Akihiro's long-lost brother was a member of the Brewers' crew as human debris, Tekkeadan and the Turbines stage an attack on the Brewers to free Akihiro's brother. However, that mission would be unsuccessful, but Tekkeadan could release the Brewers' human debris and incorporate them into their own ranks. After holding a funeral for the fallen Tekkeadan members and Akihiro's brother, Tekkeadan and the Turbines arrive at the Dort colonies to make a delivery for the turbines and to resupply before they finally make it to Earth. Unfortunately, this would be anything but a simple delivery, as they had unknowingly been sent to deliver military-grade weaponry to the civilian workers. The latter planned to use those weapons to start an uprising for their independence, which prevented Orga, Mikazuki, and the others from contacting the turbines or other members of Tekkeadan. As they made their way across the Dort colonies, riots began spreading across the territories as Tekkeadan's reputation was being manipulated into that of a villain that arms civilians to battle Gjallarhorn. Many die in these riots, including Fumatan Admos. Eventually, after linking up with a TV crew, Orga, Mikazuki, and the others escape the Dort colonies. Mikazuki links up with the Gundam Barbados, and the others make it back to the Isaribi. After Akihiro and Shino deploy in their mobile suits, Kudelia has the TV crew help her send out a broadcast to counter Gjallarhorn's efforts to make Tekkeadan appear to be the villains. After beginning their search for the exiled former Prime Minister Makanai, they are given an assignment, that assignment being to deliver Kudelia and Makanai to Edmonton. However, this would not be an easy task, as now they are being hunted by Outer Earth Orbit Regulatory Joint Fleet. In the process of destroying the Outer Earth Orbit Regulatory Joint Fleet and killing Karta Issue, the fleet's commander, they suffered a significant casualty in the form of the death of Biscuit Griffin, which was a devastating loss for Tekkeadan. As Tekkeadan arrives in Edmonton to complete their delivery of Kudelia and Makanai to Parliament, they engage Gjallarhorn in a 3-day battle in their attempt to achieve their mission. While Tekkeadan can hold their ground, they're running out of time to get Kudelia and Makanai to Parliament in time for the election. To complete their objective, Tekkeadan devises a plan to sneak a convoy of mobile workers into Edmonton, using the remaining and withdrawing forces as bait. Later, Tekkeadan received reinforcements from Eugene and Chad's mobile worker group, their arrival making it so Orga's convoy could make it into Edmonton through a dried riverbed. Soon after Orga's convoy made it into the city limits, EBAX-2 Gray's Ein entered the city, with Mikazuki in hot pursuit, which would ultimately end with the demise of Gray's Ein. While Galio Baldwin faced defeat at the hands of Montang and his V08-1228 Grimgird, the battle ended in victory for Tekkeadan as they were able to successfully deliver Kudelia and Makanai to Parliament, who in turn were able to claim a political win against Gjallarhorn, which caused the people to lose faith in Gjallarhorn and established Tekkeadan as a respected private military company. 2 years after completing their first mission, Tekkeadan expanded its operations substantially, along with becoming a direct affiliate group of Tiwas and establishing a Tekkeadan Earth branch. Sometime later, Kudelia hired Tekkeadan again to help guard her during a visit to a half-metal mine. However, this would be anything but easy, as they ended up engaging the pirate group Dawn Horizon Corps, who had been hired by Terra Liberionis, due to Kudelia refusing to help him. Tekkeadan repelled the attack by Dawn Horizon Corps, becoming an adversary of the pirate group, but were ultimately able to defeat the pirate group with the help of a Gjallarhorn force by McGillis Farid's subordinate Isurugi Camus. After defeating Dawn Horizon Corps, McGillis Farid went to Tekkeadan to offer a partnership with Tekkeadan, and Orga agreed, making the two allies. Sometime later, the Earth branch of Tekkeadan was dragged into a civil war between Arbrow and SAU. Unbeknownst to Tekkeadan, Arbrow, or SAU, the war was all orchestrated by Lord Rastal of Gjallarhorn through the mercenary Galen Massa kidnapping Makanai, Toganosuke, and Chad. This was done to show that McGillis couldn't keep the peace if he could not end the civil war between Arbrow and SAU. The situation worsened once it came to light that Tekkeadan's Earth branch auditor Radis worked with Galen and messed with the communications between the Earth and Mars branches. After the arrival of Tekkeadan's HQ force, Radis was executed by substitute commander Takaki. In the aftermath of the SAU-Arbrow Civil War, Orga dismantled the Earth branch of Tekkeadan and withdrew all their forces to Mars. Tekkeadan then decided to throw their lot in with McGillis's plan for revolution against Gjallarhorn in exchange for control of Mars, though this plan would have disastrous results. Once McGillis's forces were defeated by the Arianrod fleet, Tekkeadan retreated to their base on Mars and was surrounded by the Arianrod fleet. To spare the lives of his men, Orga offers McGillis up in exchange for his men's safety. Still, his offer was refused, and Gjallarhorn intended to use Tekkeadan as a scapegoat to show that Gjallarhorn can be a sufficient peacekeeping force. On top of that, Gjallarhorn blocked any communication going in or out to Tekkeadan's base and manipulating the data to make it seem like Tekkeadan refused to surrender. Just as things seem dire, a secret tunnel under the base is found, and some of Tekkeadan's members begin to clear the tunnel. While this is going on, Orga manages to sneak away to the Admos company to call for help with a few Tekkeadan members, luckily. They were able to get in contact with Makanai, who would help Tekkeadan get to Earth and forge them new identities so they would be able to stay under Gjallarhorn's radar. But unfortunately, Orga wouldn't get a chance at that freedom as he was killed by men under the employment of Nobliss Gordon as he was leaving the Admos company. With the underground tunnel cleared out, Mikazuki, Akihiro, Eugene, and Hush led a team of mobile suits to take on the Arianrod force surrounding their base so that the others could escape through the underground tunnel. Because of this, Eugene and many Tekkeadan members were able to elude the Arianrod fleet, though this would cost many Tekkeadan members' lives, including Mikazuki, Akihiro, Hush, and so many others. It seemed that Tekkeadan had been destroyed by Gjallarhorn. In the aftermath of Tekkeadan's defeat at the Arianrod fleet's hands, the remnants of Tekkeadan live under their new identities, with many of them working for Kudelia, who has come to rule as the leader of the newly independent government of Mars. At the same time, the rest went to work for Yukinojo at his mobile worker factory. While living out their new lives, they had learned that Nobliss Gordon, the man who had Orga killed, had returned to Mars, so Ride Mass and some of the other former Tekkeadan members decided to assassinate Nobliss Gordon as revenge for killing Orga. Sometime later, a memorial was erected to honor the fallen and commemorate the fallen members of Tekkeadan. These young men fought for everything they had, gave everything they had to defend those they loved. They didn't beg for pity. They did everything they could to earn the respect and notoriety that the Tekkeadan name had. And in the end, they went down fighting. In the end, they completed their mission and earned a nice, long rest. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials have you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend to you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day.